Gang sexy. Guess what? I finished another game. Must be something wrong with me. I'm knocking him out left and right. All right, so I mentioned in my last video I shot on GTS that I had a little project I'm going to attempt to do. All right, so this is phase one of the project. My plan is to play 3 games revolving around the Battle of Smolensk in July of 41. All right, first one here is done, and you watch the progression video that I did. Sorry, they're not perfectly aligned and everything, but I'm not that technically savvy and don't want to work that hard. But you can see how they progress through the fight. This is PanzerGruppe Guderian. This is the Avalon Hill version, 1976. Man, I loved this game when I was younger and had this thing, and haven't seen it for years other than it being in other people's hands. So, Wardrobe had it, and I snatched it from the jaws of his victory before he sent it somewhere else, and I got my hands on it so I could play. He was kind enough to send it to me. So, first thing I did, got this thing, got it clipped up for me, got it on the table, set it up. It's funny how you can remember some of the rules from a game you haven't probably played in 30 or 40 years, 50 years, whatever it may have been, 40 years. But, the untried units in here, the divisional integrity of the motorized and mechanized units for the Germans, the simplicity of supply when you check it, the simplicity of the victory conditions, take these locations for the Germans or kill these things for the Soviets. Rail movement never fails in the East Front. It's always belonging to the Russians have the largest potential for rail movement. They don't clutter you up with major terrain stuff. I mean, you look on this map, you've got cities and villages, you got woods, you got rivers, and you got some marsh stuff thrown in every now and then a couple little roads, which Russia didn't have a whole lot of prominent roads anyhow, and then all the massive amount of rail lines. They just spent a lot of stuff on rail lines. Okay. All right. Trick to this game, you would think would be supply. All right. I had very few moments during this game where a German unit was potentially out of supply because they have 2 options. 20 movement points to a map edge, which was way over here, or 20 hexes to a road that traces back unblocked to the east edge. Okay? And on the map here, you notice that the roads are separated, the rivers, for supply purposes, they're considered connected. Okay? And then, of course, the rail lines are connected all the way across. Germans can cut the rail lines. To get Soviets out of supply, just a combat unit is not within range of a commander that can trace supply, or you just get them encircled. And after the first 3 or 4 turns, that's why you'll see the progression videos don't start for till the 4th turn. Not a whole lot going on. Germans took, the 3, which you can't see, but there's 3 early victory locations over here where they took Vitebsk, Mogilev, and Ural. They took those, pretty, I'd say in the first 4 or 5 turns, and then they start get the influx of their motorized divisions to start showing up, and then that's when the fight starts. And you can see here, there's actually 1 turn left, but the Russians don't get any more reinforcements in the last turn, and you can see that they're not going to be any match. I've even tried to make some attacks to maybe do something to a German division, one of these mechanized or motorized divisions, or maybe attempt to move to try to take a victory location back. But there was no way they were going to take anything back from what the Germans already had. All right. All of the Soviet units, except for the leaders, are untried. So you don't know what you get when you first bring them on, unless you voluntarily flip them over or they get into combat, either defensively or offensively. You don't know what's there. The leaders can provide combat factors offensively for the Soviets, but the mobility of 2 movement phase for the German mechanized and motorized stuff and the cavalry, and then the divisional integrity of doubling of strength, it's hard to overcome. So I got it in my mind, since playing the defender usually is normally the easier of the routines. So you try to focus on the best method of attack. So once I got the influx of motorized and mechanized divisions for the Germans, I said, okay, let's get aggressive, and let's start taking a risk and moving out. Smolensk fell 3/4 of the way through the game, almost, maybe a little underneath that. And once this major area right here, that opened up these roads, and this southern road just travels all the way over to here, and there's nothing there. There's no Soviets there to cut that off. They might have had a couple units, but with all the activity that was going on in Smolensk, I had to focus all the Soviets up in there, because that's a 25 victory point, and there's two hexes there you got to take. And it took the Germans, I got to admit, the Soviets put up a fight, and it took the Germans a while to get there. So this is definitely a German victory. Now I'm going to put my glasses on here because I actually haven't added the points up. The Soviets get victory points also by recapturing a city. And I think they get like 2 if they recapture it from a German. They never did that once. So all in all, it looks like here, they got no victory points. So it looks like it's 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 65. They did not take that one. 65, 5, 70. And then they took Kaluga way over here to the right of the map. And that's 20 points. So there's 90 victory points the Germans have. And according to the point differential chart, 80 to 124 is a German strategic victory. Now, if I go one more turn, yeah, quite possibly they could take that 90 to another 15. That'd be 105. That still wouldn't get them above the margin they need to get a major victory or decisive victory. Another 5 there would take them to, 115, I guess, or something like that. I don't know. They would have to take, man, I don't see any more victory locations that they could take. I don't know how they would get that number. Oh, 125 or more. Okay, yeah. So they would take them all to get that decisive. But still, strategic victory for the Germans is a whitewash, I think, for them. The attacks that I was able, I think the Soviets might have won maybe 5 attacks during the entire game here. And they weren't great. They never got massive odds. I made sure that the Germans were positioned appropriately at the end of their movements. And that mechanized movement phase, that second movement phase they get, can allow you to do that, to sort of help keep units from getting isolated. And the other thing, too, is this game is sticky zones control. Once you're in a zone of control, you can't leave it voluntarily. It has to be a result of combat. And, of course, German units being able to overrun, well, I mean, anybody could overrun, but being able to overrun once they clear a unit out, like you had this whole thing surrounded, let's say, by mechanized forces. Maybe it's out in a clear hex. One stack overruns it. He continues to move. Now you freed up all the other motorized or mechanized units for second movement phase. And let me tell you something, that 10 movement points, and then if you happen to be able to use the roads, that's a lot of distance they can travel. So I'm going to tell you, the Germans were stuck in this region here for quite a while. Took a risk, chased that unit up there, ran him up there to take that victory location, Rojev, the meat grinder. And that was one of those where he had to go 20 hexes back to a road. And I think it was 19 back to one of these hexes right here through that clear terrain up there. So it worked out pretty good. Yeah. All right. Total German victory, pretty much strategic anyhow. And PanzerGruppe Guderian, Battle of Smolensk, July 41. This is from Avalon Hill, 1976. Let's get this thing posted. The next game I'm going to try in this, I got another project I got to do too, because we know it's coming up in July. But the next one I'm going to do is I think I'm going to play SCS Autumn for Barbarossa. I know I've already played it once a long time ago, but I think that'll be a fitting game to go along with this. And then the third one, right now it's looking like Barbarossa derailed Smolensk from OCS, but I ain't quite steadied my finger on that one yet. But I'll figure it out by the time I get through with Autumn for Barbarossa. All right, let's get this up, and we'll talk to y'all soon. See you.